I'm here today to express my thankfulness and how grateful I am for the opportunity to have coached at Mississippi State here these past 7 years. I want to thank Dr. Mark Keenum and Scott Strickland for the opportunity they gave me to be the coach at Mississippi State 7 years ago. I was so grateful to them for the opportunity, and I continue to be that way. I also want to thank John Cohen. These past 6 years I worked for John. He was my boss, for all his support for me and my staff in the men's basketball program. And I want to have a personal thanks to Bo Hemphill, who was the sport administrator in charge of men's basketball, for his friendship and support. Dr. Keenum is a tremendous leader. I've been in Division I athletics, multiple different universities throughout the country in my 39 years, and I'm so impressed with the leadership he provides for Mississippi State. When you look at the research dollars that come into Mississippi State, you look at all the facilities that have been built during his tenure here, how much he loves athletics and realizes what an important part that is for the university in terms of his outreach. I think it's just incredible that Mississippi State has him as the president and how lucky and fortunate they are. I'm honored and privileged to have worked with so many talented people during my tenure here, and I want to thank a number of them at this time. Number one, I want to thank Bracky Brett and Steve Smith in compliance. Great to work with, really, really good people. I'm so thankful to them. I want to have a special thanks to Sawyer Bowering. Sawyer was our academic coordinator my first 6 years at Mississippi State, and worked with our team exclusively, helping them, set up tutoring appointments, staying on top to make sure our guys were on course to graduate on time. And it was just incredible with each and every kid, and really, really provided great help and support. And so many of our players have done so well academically. It makes me very proud. There's a lot of great people throughout the university that I work with, and I'm so thankful to all of them. There's just so many to name. At this time, I also, most of all, want to thank, the great group of men that I've had a chance to work with these last 5 years, or 7 years, excuse me. My staff, George Brooks, Corey McCray, and Ernie Zinkler are great mentors. Excellent coaches, recruiters, did a phenomenal job with our players over the last 7 years. And I'm very proud of the continuity we had in our coaching staff, which I think is very important for young men. We had the second longest tenured staff in the country this season. All 7 years, the three of us, or the four of us, my three assistants and I were together, and I'm very thankful for that. They're outstanding men. Great mentors for these kids, excellent coaches, really provided good leadership day in and day out, and tireless workers, and I'm going to really miss them. They'll all be successful as they move on in their coaching careers. I want to, especially thank all the excellent support staff. John Janowski, my director of operations, did an excellent job this year. I'm really thankful to Colin Crane, our strength and conditioning coach. He's the best I've ever worked with, and he's the best I know of. Seth Tisdale, our trainer, who's just like an assistant coach. Trainers are so important. They're so valuable to the success of any program, any team, and Seth did a great job here these past seasons. And I'm really, really thankful to our players. They're managers, players, just how hard they worked over the past 7 years, and all the trials and tribulations you go through as a team, all the adversity, to have the great character to continue to fight and work through each and every season. We've had a great group of young men. I've been blessed to coach a lot of really good players during my 7-year career here at Mississippi State. Quindari Weatherspoon was a freshman my first year, and to watch him go from all SEC freshman team to being a second team his sophomore and junior year, and then a first teamer His senior year on the All-SEC team, as voted by the coaches, was a thrill. And now he's in the NBA with the Golden State Warriors. Just so happy and proud of him. He scored over 2,000 points and was really, really a special player. Eric Holman was in that same class. I got here in late March, just about 7 years ago this coming week. And we were lucky to find Eric still available at that time. And he had a great career at Mississippi State and is playing professional basketball now and graduated in 4 years. Really, really good kid. Lamar Peters did a phenomenal job for us. I go back to thinking about our third year. He was key to the run down the stretch where we got to the Final Four, the NIT that year, and my third year. And he had, I believe, 14 assists in a game at Baylor. He was great during his tenure here. And then I think about some of the others. Reggie Perry, phenomenal player. And I love the fact we've had so many players here that are legacy players. Starting with Tyson Carter, his dad and Tyson, are the only father-son to both score over 1,000 points during their careers here at Mississippi State. Of any school in the SEC, that is true. Reggie Perry, same situation. His dad played here, was a great player, Al, and just so excited to have had the opportunity to coach him. He's off playing in the NBA now. Robert Woodard, who's right here from Columbus. So proud to have coached him. Another legacy, his dad was a great player. People love the Woodard family because of their toughness and hard work. Robert is going to have an exciting career for years to come. So proud of him. I think about DJ Stewart and all that he gave to our program. Wish he would have been back this year because that would have made a big difference for us. But we're wishing him the very best. Tolu Smith and Iverson Molinar from this year's team were phenomenal. Really, really fun to coach. And they're both going to have great careers beyond Mississippi State in their careers in basketball. And then I want to thank all the unbelievable support from the alumni, the Bulldog Cub. We've had some great supporters here during my tenure that I've got to know and really have enjoyed the friendships. So many people that love Mississippi State, that went to school here and give so much back of themselves, of their time and their money. And of all the places I've been, I think that the alums and the Bulldog Club members here at Mississippi State give more than anybody else of anywhere I've been in terms of their support and especially their money. They're phenomenal. They have an unbelievable love for their university and for the kids that go here now, and I'm always going to be indebted and thankful to them. My wife Kim and I have loved living in Starkville. It's been a real blessing for us. The people here are so warm, so kind, so loving. And my belief is it's because it's based on the Christian culture. That is Mississippi. That is the South. Kim has commented to me many times that her Bible study group that she's involved with is the most fun and best she's ever been involved with. And she's really going to miss that group of women. We enjoyed the community. We loved our church. Scott Kappelman, our pastor, we're so appreciative to him for his leadership at Cross Point. And our neighbors. We have a beautiful neighborhood. We're just really, really thankful for our time here. And then lastly, I just want to thank Kim and my children, Meredith and Adam, for all their support. As a coach, we're so married to our jobs. It's such a round-the-clock profession that they sacrifice so much and have had now for 39 years of Division I coaching. And I'm just so grateful to Kim and all her love and all her support these 41 years that we've been married and all the years I've been in coaching. So thank you so much, and now I'm going to open it up for questions.
Well, Ben, it's clear that Mississippi State clearly means a lot to you. Thanks for going so in-depth with all that, and thanks again for joining us here on WCBI TV today. Just kind of want to start off with, the recent stuff. You said on Tuesday that you would be disappointed if you were not back as Mississippi State's head men's basketball coach. A few days later, they let you go. What was that conversation with athletics director John Cohen like, and how emotional was it for you when you realized you were not going to be back next year?
Number one, I am disappointed I'm not back. I thought we were going to be really good this year, and so coming up, I thought that we'd have a great chance to have both Tolu and Iverson, who are really, the key to our foundation. But we had some really good recruits coming in, guys that could really shoot the ball, which is something we were looking for in recruiting. And I think about, the young men that we were going to have the opportunity to coach. It hurts, but it is what it is. My conversation with John was very brief. I already knew, what, they were going to tell me, so I didn't have a lot of things to discuss other than just thanking them and moving on.
Okay. And, how would you kind of accurately and fairly describe your tenure as Mississippi State's head coach, you think?
Well, I took over a tough situation here, and
No
I think people recognize that. And, the first year was very difficult, and we had three, solid seniors who had been in the program, and then it was really not a lot behind that. So, recruiting was key, and I thought we did a really good job there. And Abdul Adu was another kid I didn't mention that I absolutely love. I mean, Abdul is such an important part of what we accomplished during my tenure. The last 5 years of my tenure, we went 104 games, so we averaged over 20 wins a season. We went to postseason play all 5 years, if you include the fact that we didn't get to finish the season during the COVID year. And in the COVID year was the one year we had a double bye in the tournament. We had a chance, we finished fourth, so we were going to be in the double bye situation. And I was so hurt. I remember crying in front of our team in the hotel, having to share with them that our season was over, that everything had been shut down so abruptly because of COVID. And I mean, it was abrupt. I mean, it would all happen and came down in one day. We didn't expect that. I thought that we were going to play without any fans or just family, with masks on, but still be able to play. And so it was really quite shocking. And I'll never, it will always haunt me to not know what was going to happen with that team. We were right on the bubble, and I felt we had won 11 of our last 15 SEC games going into that conference tournament. So, I feel really positive about what we accomplished. I know we didn't get it to as many NC2As. I think we had a chance that year in the COVID year. The first 2 years we're just building, so I feel good about what we accomplished, and I'm proud of our team. I'm proud of the players. I'm proud of everybody who helped make it happen. There's so many people behind the scenes that work so hard to help make it happen. So I'm talking about nutritionists, team doctors, all the people that run the facilities, Jay Logan and his staff. I mean, it's just an incredible group of people and teamwork that makes it happen, not just for us, but for all the athletic programs at Mississippi State.
Sure. And that kind of feeds into my next question. You probably didn't achieve everything in the 7 years that you wanted to do, as you just said. What do you think was the biggest factor in kind of preventing you to achieve what you wanted? And kind of the second part of that, what do you think of the Mississippi State Athletics Department's leadership?
I really think that Mississippi State is a special place, and I think the athletic department is a key focus because of that. I think that so many people love the athletic teams and programs. I think the leadership is great. It all starts with Dr. Keenum. He is the leader. John is obviously the athletic director in charge of athletics. But I think it's in good hands, and I'm always going to be a Bulldog supporter, and I wish nothing but the best for our team, men's basketball, football, baseball, and all the programs. A great group of coaches, and it's a family. I mean, I really believe that we have a family atmosphere here at Mississippi State, and that's because of the people. Not just the people within the athletic department, but the people who support it. And there's so many wonderful boosters that have been fans that have been coming since the hump was built. I mean, we have so many people that I've met and known, and they love Mississippi State. And so I'm always going to be thankful for my 7 years here and the time that I spent.
And the last one from me, again, you mentioned the achievement thing. Do you think there was anything specific that kind of stood in the way of you achieving kind of like ultimately like what you wanted to there? You mentioned the postseason success things, but even you just said, you could have achieved more. Did something stand in the way of that, you think, or no?
You know what? I really had hoped on coming here, I wanted to get to a fourth Final Four. I wanted to lead Mississippi State to their second Final Four. And there's another person I should mention, Richard Williams, our color man for our radio, phenomenal. Did a brilliant job here as a coach, and still gives back because he's not getting much to travel with us everywhere and do the radio. He does it because he loves Mississippi State basketball. And, I looked at him and I looked at Rick Stansbury and, what they accomplished here, I always said was incredible. And I think our league, when you look at how the SEC has improved and grown in the last 7 years, I got a nice text message today from Mike Tranghese, who I really pushed hard with Commissioner Sankey to take a look at because he was taking over, the commissioner was, right as I was coming in. So there was a lot of new things happening, a lot of new coaches, and they've done a tremendous job, the leadership of the SEC, in prioritizing men's basketball to where now I really believe this league is, on par with any league in the country year in and year out in men's basketball.
Okay, so now we're going to open it up to questions. I'm going to join this media scrum that we have here, so you guys can fire away. I'm going to move on over.
Media
over
scrum.
Yeah, I guess that's what we call it, right?
Ben, you had mentioned there kind of how you had an idea and the conversation with John Golan was quick. What has the timeline kind of been like the past few weeks, towards the end of the regular season and the postseason? Did you have conversations? You said you kind of knew it was coming. What did those conversations kind of look like?
I got my information from the news. I didn't have really a conversation with John in the last month of the season. The only time that we spoke was during the week that we had the Missouri games, and their flight came in late, and they were trying to move the game or start it later, which we ended up doing, which was really problematic, on that day. And he did a good job of working with their athletic director, hammering out that this is what we're going to do, and we had the support of the conference, and so that worked out. But in terms of my status and what he was thinking, there was no conversation during the last month of the season.
Was that difficult? I guess seeing it on the news and in the various reports that it would end like this.
It is what it is.
Coach, have you you talked about all the people you think, but have you been able to talk to your players since you stepped down?
When we had our last game at Virginia on Wednesday night, I told them after the game that I expected to be, out of here for this next year that was going to come up, and I wanted to thank all of them. So I actually thanked them that time, and had a lot of hugs, and I'll be reaching out to them and just wishing them well. And basically, I told them I'll always be there for them, not just now, but the rest of their lives, whatever I can do to help them in any way. And I think about so many wonderful kids, not just the really, like Andrew Junkin. Now, here's a young man right here from this area where we're sitting right now, who was with us for 3 years, graduated, unbelievable student, 30 on the ACT. He transferred to get his MBA at Elon College this year. Played for him, has done really well. I got such a beautiful text from him yesterday. I'm so proud of him. That's a relationship I know I'll have the rest of my life, and he'll be incredibly successful. And as a coach, I'm so proud of all the NBA players I've coached and all the kids that I've coached at UCLA and Pitt and NAU and Mississippi State. But I'm equally proud of all the men that I've coached that have gone and become great fathers, great husbands. They're successful giving back to their communities and really doing good things for their communities. Because really more, when I first got in this business, it was about, helping kids get a Division I scholarship to get their degree and better their lives and help their families. And I still believe in that cause being the primary function for Division I athletics.
Obviously, with coaching changes, a lot can change in a heartbeat, and things can be up in the air. But how much have you talked to the signees about going through that transition, and even your players that, I'm sure some may leave, some may come back, some may wait and see. Have you talked about any of that with the signees?
I'm reaching out to them today. I wanted to let the university get a chance. I mean, they had a Zoom call with the team yesterday. I know that. And I'm sure they're reaching out. John was going to call each one of the kids personally, was what I understood. So I'll reach out to those kids today. And like Kamani Hamilton, whose dad played here, I mean, he needs to come to Mississippi State. It's a perfect fit for him. I'm hoping that they retain, the new coach retains someone from our staff, which I think would be a good move, which is what I did when I came here. But that'll be up to them. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. We'll just see what happens. And I'm working really hard right now to help our staff, land in a good situation for each one of them, whether it be the coaches, director of operations, video coordinator, all of them.
What do you think is next for you? Do you plan to continue coaching, or have you thought about that just yet?
You know what? I'm going to be 65 in May, and I could still coach again, but I am right now just thinking about currently what I have to deal with. My mother, yesterday morning, fell and broke her hip, and she's going to be 89 next month. So I'm rushing home to California day after tomorrow to be with her. She's going to be not able to walk for probably 6 weeks. So that's my first number one priority. I was supposed to be taking her to her family wedding in April, which is obviously off for her now. So I'm, just thankful she had surgery this morning, and my brother and my daughter are there with her right now. And so I'm just hoping she's, going to recover fine, because that's always scary, especially at that age. But I've had a great career, and you never say never. So one thing I know is I'm going to be back home with my family. My son and his wife, Brittany, and our 3, soon to be 4 grandsons next month in Santa Barbara. Something we joyously look forward to spending time with them, more time with them. Living out in Mississippi, I've seen my mom twice a year essentially the last 7 years. And same thing with my kids, my grandkids. It's hard to travel with those little kids all the way back here with jobs and et cetera. So I'm from there. That's home. I'm really looking forward, Kim and I, to getting back out there. And, so that's, the number one thing. I've had a great career. I couldn't be happier. And, we'll see what happens in the future.
What do you think about players from this year's team? I know you mentioned the other day that Iverson was likely going to come back when you were still the coach. Do you think that's still in play? What do you think Tolu's going to do? The only reason I ask is because also after that Virginia game, Tolu sounded like he would, lay in front of traffic for you as well. So what do you kind of think with those 2 guys and the rest of the players? Have you heard anything about those decisions?
I haven't, and I think it's really early. I mean, this all just transpired yesterday. So, they have time. They both have really good families. 2-parent families, a lot of support, great kids. And Iverson's the best student on the team, so academics are really important to him, graduating from college. The plan was that he would go through the NBA process and get feedback and see what happens. The same was true for Tolu going into the year, but with his injuries now, I think it limits that a little bit. He needs to, come back to college for another year and just get through a whole season healthy to increase his stock. Tolu, last August, last July, last June, when we were working with him, there was no doubt in my mind he was an all-SEC player. I mean, it really was brutal to go through the adversity of not having him for the entire year. That alone would have been a huge game changer for us, but it is what it is. It happened. So, I just wish them nothing but the best. They're great kids, and I feel very honored and blessed to have coached them and all the kids we had this year.
Obviously, they made a change in leadership on, the women's basketball side and now on the men's side, and they have renovations coming to Humphrey Coliseum. I guess, I know it's probably hard for you leaving, but where do you kind of see the brand of basketball at Mississippi State kind of moving towards the future with everything that's coming in?
I think that the facilities being updated was long overdue, and I think it's really good for the basketball programs. And so I'm excited for the future that they're going to have a updated and really nice facility to recruit to and to play in. And one of the things that makes this place so tough, in my mind, is that we're isolated from big population areas, and there has to be a concerted effort to get better crowds at the games. And when you have an 8 o'clock Wednesday night, TV pays the bills. SEC Network, we had The Tennessee game was at 8 o'clock, and the Auburn game in the middle of the week at 8 o'clock. Those were tough games, for fans from Jackson, fans from Tupelo to get here. But that is what it is. It's, that to me is a big deal, is really getting a great home court. In years past, like during Stansbury's tenure in particular, people talk about all the great crowds. There wasn't the SEC network then either. A lot of times it's easy for people, especially during the week, to put their toes up and sit in bed and watch the game. But it's so much better when you have them there in person and you have people in the seats that are loud and boisterous. And so I'm hoping for the next group that happens. And again, I think the facilities being redone is awesome. It's great. And, thank Dr. Keenum, number one. I mean, you look at what has happened at the university with all the different, improvements to facilities, starting with baseball. During my tenure here, and looking at soccer and what they've been able to accomplish, and golf and tennis. I mean, it's every sport. So they're really doing it right.
What message or instructions would you leave for the next head coach here as far as how to win and how to succeed at Mississippi State?
You know what? They're going to get someone great, so I'm sure that he doesn't need my help. He'll be able to handle it.
You guys have anything else? Any other questions? I think that's it. You guys good?
Okay, guys.
Okay.
Thanks for being
Great.
here.
Thank you so much for
No, really.
taking the time.
This was really nice for me because I wanted to say goodbye, and hopefully some of this will get out there through you guys streaming it, and also the news tonight. Just so
Yeah.
the people of Starkville know how thankful and grateful we are for having lived here, and how grateful I am to all the people that made our lives so nice and enriched us.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you coming. And this whole thing is we're gonna air parts of it on the news the next couple days. We're gonna edit like the whole thing, post it to our website, get it out there everywhere. So
That's nice.
hopefully as many fans as possible will see it.
And I really appreciate you doing that.
Yeah, no worries.
you know.
We'll take care of it.
You guys.